The story begins with Rose, a high school girl who lives with her father, and the two of them only have each other. Her mother works abroad, but she still keeps in touch with them regularly. One morning, while Rose is getting ready for school, her father teases her and says, "You stand in front of the mirror every single day just to make the exact same hairstyle." Rose laughs and tells him that since she's his daughter, he's supposed to say something sweet in the morning to make her feel good about life. But does her father stay quiet? Of course not. He immediately starts making fun of her hair, saying she used so much cream that it looks soaked in oil. Their relationship is full of playful teasing, and it becomes obvious that Rose is a cheerful girl who starts every day with a bright smile and positive energy. When she arrives at school, she finds her friends screaming and causing chaos, and it almost feels like the entire school is losing their minds. The reason? A handsome new student transferred there that day, and not just any student. He has an American father and a Filipino mother. Rose tells her friends they are being way too dramatic and warns them not to act crazy in front of him or he'll become arrogant. At that moment, the teacher comes out of the office and hears all the screaming. She panics and thinks there must be a fight or someone jumped off a building, which honestly makes sense because the students are overreacting so much. Rose explains that some silly girls are simply excited about the blonde foreign boy, describing him that way because of his white skin and blonde hair. Unlike the others, Rose stays far away from all that nonsense and quietly helps the teacher take care of the plants around the school. She explains that her love for plants comes from her mother, but strangely enough, the teacher acts even more dramatic than the students. She suddenly freaks out just because she forgot to bring fertilizer from the storage room. Even though Rose is much younger, she's the one calming the teacher down and reassuring her that it's not a big problem, and she'll go get the fertilizer herself. Meanwhile, the handsome new student, whose name is Jord, asks a teacher if he can use one of the office computers. The teacher tells him every computer there is broken and none of them work anymore. At the same time, Rose is carrying the fertilizer bag while clearly disgusted by its horrible smell. Suddenly, she accidentally crashes into Jord, and the fertilizer flies all over both of them. Now they both smell absolutely terrible. Jord immediately gets angry and blames her for not paying attention and ruining his clothes with that disgusting fertilizer. But Rose fires back without hesitation, calling him overly delicate and dramatic, saying it's just fertilizer and not the end of the world. She tells him to stop whining and act like a man. Poor Jord ends up running away the moment the girls spot him because they've been chasing after him since morning. Later, at an internet cafe, some boys mock the awful smell coming from him, and honestly, he has every right to be annoyed because they are acting incredibly nosy. But Jord has no idea that Rose actually works there and is basically the person in charge. The second he sees her, he starts arguing with her again because he blames her for humiliating him. Her coworkers defend her, explaining that she didn't do it on purpose and that he also bumped into her, but she never complained. We then learn that Jord already has enough problems in his life. His mother forced him to leave America and move to the Philippines after separating from his father a long time ago. She decided to return because she couldn't handle living alone in America anymore. Rose sarcastically calls him a colonizer and tells him that even if he thinks their lifestyle is backward, this is still their life, and if he hates it so much, he should just go back where he came from. Out of pure stubbornness, she even pulls the plug on the computer he was using. Jord reminds her that he paid for the hour, so she gives him back his money and tells him to leave. When he threatens to complain to the manager, she acts tough and dramatically tells him she's the boss around there. Then she mocks him by calling him Mr. Bad Smell, only for him to remind her that she smells even worse. Jord leaves the cafe hating the country and hating the moment his mother decided to leave America. He doesn't know what to do except stare at a picture of himself with his father and wish he could return to him. To Jord, his father is the only hope left that could save him from the miserable change in his life. The next morning, he asks his mother why she packed rice in his lunchbox instead of the breakfast he's used to eating. She explains that rice is a basic Filipino breakfast, but honestly, She comes across as frustrating because she completely changed his life without caring how hard it is for him. She took him away from the country where he was born, where all his friends were, and brought him somewhere he still cannot accept. Now she even wants him to get used to eating foods he normally considers lunch meals for breakfast. She tells him he needs to adapt because there's no other choice, but Jord desperately begs her to let him return to America and live with his father. He asks her to at least buy him a computer so he can contact his dad and ask him to take him back. Sadly, his mother reminds him that he's been sending messages to his father for years without ever getting a reply. When she tells him he'll be late for school if he keeps talking, he realizes arguing with her is pointless, leaves the food untouched, and walks away. Back at school, Rose struggles to grab a drink sitting on a high shelf. Just as she asks the shopkeeper for help, Jord suddenly appears and takes the drink first. Rose instantly argues with him, claiming she asked for it before he came. Jord coldly tells her that words mean nothing to him and that whoever grabs it first owns it. Then he mocks her height, saying it's not his fault she's short. When Rose calls him arrogant, he opens the drink right in front of her, takes one sip, and throws the rest away just to annoy her even more. Later that same day after school, Jord goes to the internet cafe because he wants to use a computer for an hour, but Rose, still holding a grudge against him, tells him there are no available computers. Someone points at an empty computer, but Rose casually lies and says the person using it just went to the bathroom and will be back soon. At that moment, one of Rose's acquaintances arrives and casually starts using the same computer Jord wanted. He immediately gets annoyed and points out that she lied to him about the computer being reserved. He reminds her that he arrived before that woman did, but Rose couldn't care less. Furious, Jord threatens to report her to the local authorities and get the entire internet cafe shut down, but Rose simply shrugs and tells him to do whatever he wants. She even sarcastically offers to personally guide him to the office if he needs help finding it. Then she reminds him of the chocolate drink he stole from her at school, making it clear she's treating him with a one-for-one attitude. Before things escalate further, a few guys surround Jord and intimidate him, basically warning him that if he doesn't leave peacefully, they'll deal with him themselves. From that moment on, Jord completely fixates on Rose. Their prank war becomes endless. Sometimes he secretly deflates her bicycle tires, while Rose and her co-workers find new ways to annoy him every day. One day, the moment Jord walks near the cafe, Rose and her friends ambush him with buckets of water and completely soak him. Later, he returns home absolutely miserable. When his mother asks why he's drenched, he complains about an annoying girl who keeps making his life miserable. But instead of comforting him, his mother immediately assumes he's the problem and even mocks him, saying, "So now you're fighting with girls too?" Jord tries to explain that Rose specifically has it out for him, but his mother tells him she'll speak to one of their relatives who has influence in the neighborhood. Jord quickly stops her and says the only help he actually wants is either to return to America or get a computer so he can contact his father. Sadly, she explains that their financial situation no longer allows them to afford something like that. When she asks why he's so desperate for a computer, he quietly admits that he wants to talk to his father. His mother reminds him that his father has never replied to a single message, even after 10 years of trying. She tells him he should stop holding on to false hope because he's only hurting himself, but Jord refuses to give up and insists that one day his father will finally answer him. The next morning, Jord arrives at the internet cafe before Rose even opens the place. He asks to use a computer, but she immediately tells him that he, specifically, is not allowed to use any computers there. Jord stubbornly says he'll wait all day if he has to, while Rose responds with complete indifference, telling him to stand there as long as he wants. Hours pass, and one of Rose's co-workers points out that Jord has been standing outside since morning and genuinely looks pitiful. Still, Rose coldly replies, "Let's see how long he can keep this up." But when she notices that he's still waiting by the end of the day, she finally starts feeling guilty. Softening a little, she calls him over and tells him he can use a computer for 30 minutes while they repair the copy machine. The second Jord hears that, he rushes to the computer with desperate excitement and quickly opens his email inbox. But his expression immediately falls when he realizes there's still no reply from his father. He leaves the cafe before even using 5 full minutes of his time. Watching him walk away like that leaves Rose confused and unexpectedly affected. That night, while sitting at home, Rose tells her father everything that happened with Jord. Her father, being his usual silly self, instantly teases her and says, "Looks like you're starting to like him." Rose stares at him in disbelief, completely unable to understand how he came to that conclusion. He jokingly tells her, "You're lying, girl. Your nose got bigger, which means you're in love." Somehow, in his strange logic, nose size is apparently connected to romance, but then he suddenly becomes serious and points out that Jord is probably trying to contact his father because he truly needs him. After all he did at the cafe was open his email. He didn't even waste time on social media or games. Her father advises her to think about that carefully and treat the boy more kindly because he's obviously carrying a lot of pain inside him. Strangely enough, while sitting there listening to her father's words, Rose suddenly gets a nosebleed. The next day, Rose decides to change her attitude and becomes the one who starts talking to Jord first. He's still not fully comfortable around her though. Since the music blasting through his headphones is loud enough for her to hear, she suddenly starts singing along with the song. And honestly, both of their voices sound even better than the actual singers. Somehow, without even realizing it, the two of them begin talking and smiling together as if they hadn't been enemies just days earlier. Jord becomes suspicious and asks why she's suddenly being so nice to him. Rose casually replies, "You looked lonely, so I thought I'd sit and eat with you." After school, she sincerely apologizes for all the trouble she caused him. Not only that, but she also tells him he's free to use the internet cafe whenever he wants from now on. When Jord asks what suddenly changed her mind, Rose explains that her own mother also lives far away in another country, so she understands how painful it feels to miss someone important. Jord instantly realizes she already knows about his father and the unanswered emails. When he explains why he keeps trying to contact him, Rose jokingly tells him that maybe he should just ask his father to take him back to America so everyone can finally have peace from his constant complaining. Later, the two of them go to the internet cafe together again, but sadly, there's still no reply from Jord's father. Trying to comfort him, Rose suggests that maybe the email address is no longer active, but Jord insists it's definitely his father's email because he actually replied once 2 years ago. Rose says that maybe his father simply got tired of the endless messages. Jord quietly admits that he truly misses his father and desperately needs him. Even though he never replies, Jord still can't hate him and continues holding on to the hope that one day they'll finally talk again. At another moment, Rose suddenly suggests that instead of waiting for his father to answer, they should make his father want to contact him first. Jord becomes curious as she confidently tells him to leave everything to her because she already has a plan that will make his father call him himself. During their conversation, Rose also opens up about her own dream. She tells him she works hard and saves money because she wants to buy a beautiful dress and throw a huge party for her 18th birthday. Her biggest dream is to look stunning on that day and dance with a handsome guy. She only tells him all this because she wants his help earning money for the party, while in return she promises to help him reconnect with his father. When she finally explains her master plan, Jord thinks it sounds ridiculous, especially after hearing that part of the plan involves him appearing on live television. Rose gets offended and tells him not to underestimate her because she knows exactly what she's doing. All he needs to do is follow her instructions. The first step of her plan is making him run in the school elections. Jord immediately points out that he has no chance of winning because he's not popular at all, but Rose confidently smiles and tells him that making him popular will be the easiest part for her. Honestly, Honestly, Rose turns out to be far smarter and more determined than anyone expects. She slowly pushes Jord to interact with the students instead of isolating himself all the time. Everywhere they go together, she and her friends hand out campaign flyers supporting his election. She even asks one of her classmates, who happens to know almost everyone in school, to convince all his friends to vote for Jord. As Jord watches her running around enthusiastically and doing everything she can to help him succeed, he starts admiring her dedication and realizes she's genuinely dependable. He openly tells her that without her, he never would have been able to do any of this. More importantly, he quietly admits that he truly needs her in his life. And while Jord is busy taking campaign photos, Rose can't stop staring at him with growing admiration. Little by little, she starts falling for him, and surprisingly, he begins looking at her with the exact same feelings in his eyes. One day, Rose visits the dress shop owned by her friend's mother because she wants to see the beautiful dress she dreams of wearing at her 18th birthday party. The moment she sees the price tag, $7,000, she immediately asks her friend to beg her mother for a discount. While they're there, Rose also starts choosing a suit she thinks would look perfect on Jord. Her friend teasingly asks her what she'll do if Jord suddenly confesses his feelings to her one day. She points out that everyone at school already notices how inseparable the two of them have become lately, but Rose instantly denies having any feelings for him and insists she's only helping him with the elections and nothing more. Even she doesn't seem fully convinced by her own words. Finally, the day of the election results arrives, and strangely enough, Rose looks even more nervous than Jord himself. She keeps biting her nails anxiously until Jord asks her why she's so restless. She explains that the votes between him and the other candidate are incredibly close, and she honestly expected him to win by a huge margin. But Jord confidently reassures her, clearly trusting both himself and all the effort she put into his campaign. He smirks proudly and tells her, "I know I'm going to win because I have the best campaign manager." And in the end, the results are announced. Jord wins the election. The happiness on both their faces is impossible to hide. As they walk together afterward, Jord excitedly admits that he never imagined winning would make him this happy. He tells Rose he wants to send his father an email and share the good news with him, but Rose sadly explains that the internet cafe is already closed for the day. Still, she promises to open it early tomorrow morning just for him. Overwhelmed by gratitude and happiness, Jord suddenly spins her around playfully while thanking her in his own awkward way, but Rose quickly pulls away because she suddenly feels dizzy. Even so, she reassures him that she's fine. While they continue talking, Rose excitedly explains the next step in her master plan. She wants him to become truly famous and tells him to audition for a celebrity talent program on television. She confidently says he'll definitely succeed because people in the Philippines are obsessed with anyone who looks foreign. Then she casually asks him if his father sends money to support them, since joining a show like that would require some cash. Jord becomes quiet for a moment and admits that he's never actually asked his mother whether his father still sends them money or not. Rose gets frustrated and points out how strange it is that he doesn't even know if his father supports them financially. His father never replies to him, and yet he still desperately wants to reconnect with him. Jord honestly admits that even he doesn't understand why he's so attached to his father. All he knows is that his father is his role model, his hero, and someone he truly loves no matter what. Then, to celebrate his election victory, he surprises Rose with a small gift. He buys her a beautiful hairband to replace the scarf she always ties around her hair. Later that night, while trying it on at home, Rose looks absolutely beautiful wearing it. Days pass, but there's still no reply from Jord's father. Trying to comfort him, Rose suggests that maybe his father is simply busy. Or perhaps he even forgot the password to his email account and can't access the messages. While they're talking, some classmates start teasing them, joking that they practically act like a couple because they spend every second together. Rose quickly tells them to stop being childish and focus on helping Jurd become famous enough to appear on television. One of the boys jokingly suggests that Jord should go on a talent show and peel coconuts with his teeth. Around that same time, a foreign man suddenly appears nearby, and for a moment Rose and Jord mistakenly think he might actually be Jord's father, but they soon realize he's looking for one of their neighbors instead. It turns out he's the boyfriend of their neighbor, and after years of talking online, he secretly traveled all the way to the Philippines just to surprise her. Rose becomes incredibly happy for her neighbor and immediately brings the man to meet her. The neighbor works at a beauty salon, and the second she sees him, she panics and runs away in embarrassment because she thinks she's overweight and unattractive. But the man genuinely doesn't care about her appearance at all. Rose follows her upstairs and comforts her, explaining that if a man traveled across the world just to see her, then it's obviously because he loves her personality and heart more than anything else. Later, Rose speaks privately with the foreign man while Jurd listens nearby. She explains that the woman is only embarrassed and shocked that he came such a long distance for her. Since the man truly loves her, he asks Rose what he should do to make her feel comfortable. Rose advises him to treat her exactly the same way he treated her online, the same sweet and caring version of himself she fell in love with through their emails. Watching all this deeply affects both Rose and Jord. Curious, Rose suddenly asks him if he has ever fallen in love before. Jord simply answers no, but then he mischievously turns the question back on her and jokes, "Don't tell me you've fallen for me and you're too scared to admit it." Rose immediately denies it and tells him that would only happen in his dreams, but her nervous reaction makes it painfully obvious that he's actually right. She really has fallen for him. Another day, Jord notices Rose staring at a boy and girl practicing a dance together. He jokingly asks why she's staring at them so intensely. Rose explains that the couple is rehearsing a dance for the girl's 18th birthday celebration. Wanting to make her happy, Jord unexpectedly offers to practice dancing with her instead. Rose becomes incredibly happy that he cares enough to do something like that for her, so she excitedly asks the dancing couple to teach them the choreography. Later on, Rose, Jurd, and the foreign man prepare a romantic surprise for the neighbor to prove to her once and for all that he truly loves her no matter what she looks like. Rose helps him choose traditional Filipino clothing, and Jurd also dresses in traditional Filipino clothes to match the theme. But Rose quickly realizes she made a mistake, because seeing Jord dressed like that only makes her admire him even more. Finally, the surprise event begins. The foreign man throws a beautiful celebration for his girlfriend and sings her a romantic song with Jord's help. But while Jord is singing, it becomes obvious that he's staring directly at Rose the entire time, almost as if he's secretly dedicating the lyrics to her. The song talks about someone who was lost until they finally found themselves after meeting the right person. Once the party ends, Rose can clearly feel the emotions behind Jord's performance. She compliments his beautiful voice and tells him his feelings while singing were even more beautiful. She also reassures him that she always knew there was an artist hidden inside him, along with many other talents he simply hasn't discovered yet. Then, out of nowhere, Jord sincerely thanks her for everything she has done for him. He tells her she's the only person around him who truly believes in him and constantly supports him no matter what. Suddenly, he drops down onto one knee in front of her. Shocked, Rose blurts out, "Don't tell me you want to marry me. I'm still too young for marriage." Jord bursts out laughing and tells her he's not insane enough to get married at 17 years old. All he actually wants is permission to be her partner at her 18th birthday celebration. Rose practically explodes with happiness and immediately agrees, praying that nothing ruins that special day because she's been dreaming about it for years. From that point on, their relationship continues growing deeper and deeper without either of them openly confessing their feelings. They spend their days walking side by side while holding hands, and Rose's glowing smile makes it obvious that she's happier than she's ever been before. After Jord leaves, Rose's father immediately notices the happiness glowing on her face and realizes that she has completely fallen in love with him. But suddenly, while she's laughing, She starts feeling dizzy and suffers a painful headache. Within seconds, she collapses and loses consciousness. 2 days later, Rose's friend runs excitedly to Jord and shows him a newspaper article talking about him and Rose as if they're a real couple. Jord becomes incredibly happy because he instantly understands that this was Rose's second plan to help his father notice him. He quickly asks about Rose because she hasn't answered any of his calls all day. Her friend assumes she's probably at the internet cafe. But when Jord goes there, one of the workers tells him that Rose is sick and couldn't come. The worker even asks Jord to take a picture of the newspaper article so he can send it to his father through email. Later that night, Jord sits quietly at home looking upset. His mother notices his expression and asks what's wrong. He admits that he's worried Rose might be avoiding him because he accidentally revealed his feelings for her. His mother gently tells him that maybe Rose is genuinely sick, just like her coworker said, and suggests that he should visit her house instead. Back at the internet cafe, Jord opens his email nervously. Suddenly, he notices a new message. His hands shake as he clicks on it, terrified that it might not actually be from his father and that he got his hopes up for nothing. But the unbelievable happens. It really is from his father. His father congratulates him on winning the election and becoming popular enough to appear in the newspaper. Jord is completely shocked, staring at the screen as if he's dreaming. Overwhelmed with happiness, he immediately runs to Rose's house to share the news with her. The moment he sees her, he excitedly tells her that his father finally replied. Both of them become unbelievably happy, and Jord sincerely thanks her, admitting that none of this would have happened without her help. When Rose's father sees him, he warmly welcomes him and invites him to stay for lunch. But after Jord goes to the bathroom, Rose's father quietly asks her if she's finally going to tell Jord the truth, warning her that she can't keep hiding it from him forever. Later, while Rose and Jord are together looking through the playlist she prepared for her 18th birthday party, they begin choosing the song they want to dance to together. But suddenly, Rose loses her balance again. When Jord notices something is wrong, he asks her what's happening. With a broken expression, she finally reveals the truth. She has a cancerous brain tumor. The news hits Jord like a nightmare. He's completely devastated and can't believe that energetic, cheerful Rose is suffering from such a deadly disease. As they walk together afterward, he struggles desperately to stay strong in front of her and hide his tears. He promises her that he'll stay by her side and never abandon her no matter what happens. When Rose is alone, she quietly practices the dance they planned together because it's the one thing she's been dreaming about more than anything else. Even while she's dizzy and struggling to keep her balance, she keeps trying. Meanwhile, Jord completely breaks down in private. While practicing the same dance alone, he can no longer hold back his tears and collapses emotionally. Soon, Rose visits the school to request a leave of absence because she's about to begin chemotherapy sessions. While she's there, she notices people filming videos. When she asks the teacher about it, she learns there's a televised audition competition for young people who want to become actors. Despite her terrible condition, she immediately calls Jord and asks to meet him. When they meet, she tries convincing him to audition for the program, but Jord refuses because the first audition day falls on the exact same day as her chemotherapy session, and he wants to stay beside her to support her through every moment. Somehow, Rose manages to convince him anyway. She even records a video of him, capturing every emotion on his face: his excitement, passion, anger, and especially the heartbreak that appears whenever he looks at her suffering. When she notices how terrified he is for her, she jokingly tries to lighten the mood and tells him she's fine. But instead of laughing, Jord gets upset and begs her never to scare him like that again. Later, while they're at the salon helping prepare his hairstyle, Rose notices a hair clipper and suddenly asks the salon owner to shave all her hair off completely. Jord and the others stare at her in shock. But Rose calmly explains that her hair will fall out anyway because of chemotherapy, so she'd rather shave it herself instead of waiting helplessly for it to happen. Jord can barely hold back his tears while watching her go through something so painful. Even Rose Rose herself struggles emotionally as she watches her beautiful hair disappear. While they're alone together later, Jord tells her he's decided not to attend the acting audition because he wants to stay with her at the hospital instead. But Rose refuses to let him sacrifice his future for her. Jord becomes emotional and explains that it hurts him because she keeps trying to push him away during the hardest moments of her life. Finally, Rose breaks down crying and admits that deep inside, she knows the illness will probably defeat her in the end, especially because the tumor is in such a dangerous place. Hearing those words makes Jord furious. He refuses to accept them and insists that she's going to survive and achieve every dream she's ever had. But Rose quietly begs him not to give himself false hope and asks him to focus on building his future instead. As time passes, Rose suffers through the cruelest stages of her illness. Her mother even leaves her job abroad and returns home so both her parents can stay beside her and support her together. Meanwhile, Rose watches Jord on television as he competes in the acting competition. Everyone waits anxiously for the results, and Rose becomes excited when she realizes that her favorite actress is one of the judges. During the show, the actress compliments Jord on his handsome appearance and asks whether he has a girlfriend. Jord smiles softly and answers that his heart already belongs to someone very precious to him. The actress immediately notices how sincere he sounds and tells him that he must truly love that girl. When she asks why he wants to become famous, Jord replies that it's because of the girl who gave him the courage to stand on that stage in the first place. He explains that his biggest dream now is simply to make her happy in any way he can. Watching him say those words deeply moves Rose, and tears fill her eyes. That same night, after Jord sends his father a video of his victory in the competition, he suddenly receives a congratulatory message from Rose. He immediately calls her. Even though she's clearly exhausted and weak, Rose tries her best to sound cheerful and strong. She tells him she's doing fine and even jokes that she's close to defeating the illness. Then she explains that her 18th birthday party will be held at the hospital because it happens to fall on the same day as her final chemotherapy session. During the conversation, she also realizes that Jord's relationship with his father has finally improved and that he'll soon be moving to America to live with him. Jord tries hiding his tears because he knows Rose hates worrying him, but his voice starts shaking anyway. Realizing he's crying, Rose gently tells him she should hang up because her father is calling her to sleep. Finally, the day of her birthday arrives. Everyone at the hospital celebrates her, and Rose feels overwhelmed by the love shining in the eyes of the people around her. Then, when she leaves her room, she finds Jord's mother waiting for her. She asks Rose to come with her somewhere special. They take her to the salon where her neighbor and friends prepare her for the celebration. Her friend surprises her with the exact dress she always dreamed of wearing. They give her beautiful makeup and place a lovely wig on her head that perfectly matches her skin tone. But after looking at herself, Rose quietly removes the wig and says she feels more beautiful being herself. Then comes the biggest surprise of all. Jord appears in front of her beside a beautifully prepared celebration area made especially for her. But what shocks her most is that he shaved all his hair off completely to support her. Rose instantly realizes just how deeply he loves her. All her friends are there too, dancing happily around her. But Rose and Jord are clearly the center of the entire night. Together, they perform the dance they practiced for so long, dancing to the song they chose together. And in front of everyone, Jord finally confesses his love for her openly. He thanks her for changing his life and admits that without her, he never would have achieved any of the things he has now. After that, life continues moving forward. Jord focuses on his career while Rose attends her final chemotherapy session. Eventually, the day comes when Jord must leave for America to live with his father. Rose stands beside him at the airport, and her hair has finally started growing back again. Jord looks completely heartbroken and struggles to leave her behind. but Rose stays strong for his sake, reassuring him that everything will be okay and asking him to take care of himself. Jerd breaks down crying, unable to let her go. Finally, he slowly walks away, but when he turns around one last time to look at her again, she's gone. That's when the heartbreaking truth is revealed. Rose had already passed away. Jord had only been imagining her beside him the entire time because, in his heart, she never truly left him. Even after her death, her presence still surrounds him everywhere he goes. And from that moment on, Jerd decides that he will live carrying her memory forever, because Rose is no longer just someone he loved. She became engraved into his heart and soul forever. And with that, our story finally comes to an end.